Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great cast on the day. More adventures of Vedi and Dracos. I appreciate it. But I'm joined by Trashy, and I want to talk to you about something you said earlier on in your feature a few days ago. Playing around Wonder and his champion pool, it's pretty big, but this time you brought it the Fizz. What was the game plan coming into today playing with that?
So basically, Wonder put a lot of effort into, in the 7.5, there was a Fizz change, and he felt like Fizz was a good champion. So if Wonder tells himself that this champion is good, then he will play it, and then we will just find a way to play around it. And I mean, if he's gonna solo kill people in top, then it's easy to play around, because then he will have pressure in the lane. So it was not really difficult to play around.
All right, fair enough. And your execution overall was pretty good. Almost flawless, but you had a bit of a stumble there with the Baron steal. What was going through your mind when that happened?
Actually, in this game, it didn't really matter too much, because I knew we would win anyway, but it's not really... the Baron momentum is not really on my side lately. Last year, I would steal left and right, and this year, enemy is stealing it. So yeah, just unlucky, I think. Barons is like a lot about like confidence in your call and confidence in your way to, and if it has been stolen a lot of times in the season, then it kind of just goes into your mind a bit, and it's not a good thing, but I'm trying to work on it.
Well, not letting it get in your mind is definitely step one, even if you make the mistake. You talked about, telling me a little bit off stage, how you have a lot of family and friends that kind of watch day in and day out. You have some family here, and the team has some family here. How does that kind of affect your play on the day, going in and knowing that those guys are watching you right there in the studio?
So, I mean, us players are really busy, and it's not a lot of times where we can appreciate that we have family here that supports us. And today we have, I myself have my dad here and stepmom and my grandma even here watching. And even though sometimes I myself, and I'm sure the other guys are not appreciating them all the time and talking to them all the time, but it means so much that they're here supporting us. And I just want to say thank you to all the family that come by here and see the game.
Awesome. It's really cool to see that they come in supporting you. You can hear them as well. Wow. I mean, big moment especially, and you guys are not locked for playoffs yet, but you're very, very close. All you got to do now is beat Vitality, who you play next week. What's your plan coming into that game? You feeling super confident you can just knock it down?
I mean, right now, I think we, as the Splyce team, are just focusing on ourselves. I would be lying if I said everything was perfect in the Splyce house, but so we were just focusing on ourselves, and that's what matters. And I think if we play at the level we know we can play at, we will easily beat them.
All right. Well, looking forward to see how you guys can do in the next weeks and going forward into playoffs. Thank you once again, and congratulations on your win, Trashy.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and send it off to Shock's crew with the post-game lobby.
Drama.
Welcome everybody to the post-game lobby, where I'm joined by the Fizz Show and top laners Foxy from Roccat and Splyce's Wonder as we conclude top lane week and look back on the week that was. And I want to start first off by Wonder, and today your series versus Origen, quite convincing, I would say. Was it a series of trying new things out for you guys?
Yeah, I think this patch in general is a lot about trying new stuff, and I think our idea of draft that we had going into today was different from a lot of other teams. So I think it's fair to say that we tried all the bit of stuff, and it seemed to work out. But of course, you can't take a lot from games against lower tier teams. So we'll have to wait and see going into our games against HUK and Unicorns of Love, for example.
Yeah, how everything evolves indeed. Do you want to jump in?
No, I was just first pick Thresh, man. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. Missed every hook. Yeah, the old days.
Well, you definitely had a really good series. You were also player of the series, so congratulations on that once again.
I think
yeah.
I'm actually. I think I'm leading. Am I number one?
We're gonna have someone check that.
I think I have 5 out of 6 wins.
Then you're leading then.
How many games? How many wins do we have?
So I detect that you find it quite important as well that you're top. Nah, not at all.
Every week he's like.
All right.
Yeah, every week I'm like checking.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Still number one?
There.
Cool.
We're going to look into it, and meanwhile, we're also going to take a look at a series from earlier this week, because the Unicorns of Love, they upset H2K in a 2-0 to claim the top spot in Group B. Honestly, who of you expected Unicorns of Love to win? No, you didn't.
Okay, maybe not.
No. So for us, it was kind of a surprise. Foxy, what do you think about that series? What happened there?
I think Odamne was too confident that he can do well in this matchup, and it showed that he just needed too much help and couldn't do much.
Yeah, that was said about Omni. Like, I had an off day. What do you think happened in the Renekton and Camille matchup, Wonder?
I think, I mean, I can kind of like agree on him that coming from scrims, it's maybe a bit different. He thought of it a bit different, but like from this series, I would have thought HUK would win for sure, but it's also hard to judge from, because like if you scrim unicorns, you never know what you get, and I feel like HUK has been really consistent lately, but maybe, like you said, they just dropped the ball and they'll look for a bit more consistency in their games.
Does it worry you, the Fisho, that those late game problems, which were a problem before IEM, popped up in such an important series, even if it was an off day?
I mean, a little bit, but I just feel like for me, and I guess for everyone watching, is like you want to see the top teams realize what kind of issues they have, and then you want to see during the regular season they kind of fix the issues, so going into playoffs they don't have it anymore. Odamne wasn't too worried, but like going into playoffs in every H2K series, I won't be 100% confident they're going to win the late game, for sure. Almost no matter what happens the last few weeks, and I think the problem for them was the comp they had in game 2 with the Rumble top lane, even with the goal lead, was pretty hard for them to play. And then against the Nautilus top, they just like, it seemed like they couldn't do anything whenever it was a pure 5-on-5. And that is still a little bit of a problem, but I guess we can say they had an off day. But like, you shouldn't have those off days when you play for the first seed in your group, because they might have lost the semi-final.
Yeah,
right?
might have left the bye.
The bye, yeah.
Like, I think that Nautilus Rumble game in specifically, I think the HUK I know would have closed that game out, and I think that a lot of top teams should have closed that game out. I think they had a significant enough lead to play the game out, and I don't think even they get that hard outscaled if they just know what they have to play for in the game. And they kind of dropped the ball, and they got caught off guard by like them pretty much going ARAM and like grouping up and invading their jungle. And but I still think they should have won that game, and it should have went to a game 3.
Well, that is fair. I think we all can agree. But when we talk about improvement, we have to talk about Foxy and about Roccat. Pick up wins in both series here in week 8. Of course, Fnatic all the way back on Thursday, and then today again a clean 2-0 win over Giants. So I'm going to let the Fisho say something about Roccat before we go to Foxy, because this is also a surprise. Let's put it this way.
It's a surprise, but I love it. I absolutely love when a team who is 0-7 plays a 75-minute long game against Origen, managed to win the series, and then they win 3 other series in a row right after, and actually play pretty good League of Legends, because the series today, like, you guys were much better than Giants in those 2 games, and I think that's very impressive.
What do you think it was today? Aside from your amazing Gnar.
Because the Gnar was amazing.
I think we just learned how to draft a bit better and play around our drafts better. Like before, we didn't really knew that. The wins definitely helped, but yeah, it just drafts. Counter pick top lane right now is really good, I think, on red side.
I think when it comes to Rocket, like I would have expected them to do a lot better coming into the split as well. I think that looking just on paper, I would have expected them to be more, like at least a lot more convincing than Giants. And Fnatic right now is kind of struggling a bit, so it's also like I would say that Rocket looks the better of the 3, and that's kind of how I've expected it. Like besides Fnatic, who right now is having some issues, but like of course the Gnar helps, and he's definitely a contender for best Gnar in Europe at the moment.
Also second to you, of course.
I mean, I'm not going to say anything about
But you're not saying it. That Wonder is feeling good today.
No, he's good on Gnar, and it's definitely like a big reason they win the games.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, huge impact. And well, as you mentioned there, the playoff picture, possibly taking a look at the standings as week 8 reaches its conclusion. Origen now, first and foremost, officially mathematically locked into the promotion tournament, and then H2K, Misfits, Unicorns of Love, G2, only teams locked in the playoffs. But as you mentioned there, Fnatic struggling, Roccat on the way up. We talked to Foxy about it before as well, if it was possible, and you say, of course, it all hinges on that match versus Misfits. So
yes, I think Misfits is a pretty tough opponent. I won't be too confident in that matchup, but definitely if it's our day that day, I think we can take it if it's our day.
Do you agree, Fisho?
Ooh, I think it's tough. Like, it's hard when he's right there next to me and everything, but
hard.
I think Misfits, even on a bit of an off day, will still be better than Roccat and
what
win
about
the
game 1
series.
versus G2 Misfits?
I mean, yeah, no. I think I can see Misfits lose a game in this series, but I think they will take it at least 2-1 then, and they're gonna lock, you know, their second place. And sadly, probably keep Rocket just outside. But again, you guys are obviously going to avoid promotion tournament as it looks right now, which is also really good when you were 0-7 like 2 weeks ago. So I'm going to give it to Misfits almost no matter how they play.
All right.
I mean, I think Misfits is a really strong team, and I do think there's ways you can like make them a bit less convincing. I think you can do some things around how the top jungle works together, and you can definitely put, I feel like, Alfari on some chance where he doesn't have that much impact as he usually does. And in that way, you can maybe do some things there. But of course, I'm not going to sit here and say that Rocket is going to win against Misfits or something like that. I think they're definitely like a top maybe 3 team at the moment. So
we need some Foxy Nar. Then it can happen.
It's still going to get banned out.
It's totally going to get banned out. That's first ban.
But yeah, maybe you guys have something up your sleeve. And it's very interesting that I like that we're talking about this match in this manner now, because only 2 weeks ago we wouldn't have. And Rocket has just made incredible strides. Before we move on, Wonder, you were right. You've taken the #1 spot on the Player of the Series leaderboard over Kakao, Sven, and Jankos. So.
We voted for Senkox, so...
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Second game, at least.
Yeah, second game, definitely like he... I mean, it was a bit back and forth. I think second game, it was kind of hard for me to do anything because they kind of had the tent in top lane, and I just had to, like, I feel like I played the way that giving up a lot of things and just playing it really safe. I think I played that smart and well, but of course, Senkox just popped off in the mid lane, and it's not my fault that people get solo killed everywhere. So I mean,
you did your job.
I did my job, I feel like, and I think my team probably did more than enough. So.
Yeah, and you guys booked the win. As for us, we will be back on Thursday as week 9 of the Spring Split kicks off. As we have Splyce versus Vitality up then, G2 versus Giants will be Thursday. It looks like more of a clear-cut day, but then the Rocket versus Misfits comes up, Unicorns of Love, OG. It's going to be hard for the bottom teams to get wins there, and the Fnatic versus Giants closer will be very important.
Oh, that would be super important if Fnatic lose that series. Obviously, I guess depending on how you guys played against Misfits, if you lose to Misfits, I think Fnatic is pretty safe. But still, they obviously want to bounce back because you want to have some wins going into playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, looking at week 9, it feels like it's a lot of one-sided matchups. I think if I have to bet on like every team, like who wins here and there, I think I would at least get a pretty good percentage right, because I think it looks kind of rough for a lot of these bottom-tier teams at the moment, and I don't think there will be a lot of upsets.
But Vitality has Kachai now. Maybe they can pull something off.
Yeah,
that's true.
They looked a lot stronger, I think.
Pulling down the Splyce.
Wow. We'll talk a bit more about that and continue our top lane discussion with our special guest. So if you're watching us in client, be sure to hit up eu.llesports.com for the full post-game lobby. All right, there we go. Phew, that's out of the way. Let's go. What do you want to talk about, Fish Show?
Fizz top lane.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Give me Fizz top lane. Okay. So first game, Sartorius didn't know how much damage you could deal when you got the first blood.
Yeah, I mean, I think in general, a lot of people have no clue what Fizz does. It's a lot different to when Fizz top was last meta. Like, he had the dot on the W, and now it's a lot more burst, a lot more, like, less... it's a lot more, like, bursty trades, like, short trades you do, and I think he was just not used to it, and that's probably why that he got killed. Is
it top tier? Or is it more, I was testing it, I was just trying, he didn't really know the matchup?
Can you say that, though?
And can you say that?
I mean, I think it's a pick I will play moving forward. I don't think it's bad in many ways. I don't think it has a lot of counters. And of course, I'm not going to sit here and give away what counters Fizz or anything. I'm just going to let people find out or figure out eventually. But I think it's definitely a good champ, and it has a lot of safety as well and a lot of playmaking potential. Everything I like, kind of.
Good.
Every top laner is happy with the current meta. We also asked our viewers at home to send in some questions for you guys with the hashtag #AskATopLaner. And Chris, he wants to know, what was your favorite top laning meta of all time?
Fiora.
Fiora.
I mean, I can say that I didn't play top lane before Season 4. So like in start of Season 4, end Season 3, I didn't play top lane. So I would probably say like the meta where a lot of Aurelia was being played, Fiora, a lot of like pretty much last season actually, where you played like, could play GP, you could play Fiora, Aurelia, stuff like that. I think that's a really fun and exciting meta. Not like Tank Echo, even though Tank Echo is probably one of the funniest tanks to play, but Poppy, Maokai, all these champs, I don't
Maokai, this out of nowhere.
Yeah, Maokai as well.
We love some Maokai. What about you, Foxy?
I'd say top Echo was actually the most fun for me. I really like that champion.
AP Echo is really fun. I think Tank
AP
Echo
is-
then degrades a bit, but it's still okay to play.
The Fervor Trinity Force Echo, I'd say that.
Okay.
That was really, really fun. And obviously, the Fiora Aurelia was also my type. The
I mean-
split push.
I mean, I'm waiting for the Fiora. We have the Fizz now. We have the Renekton in there.
banned.
No,
It's banned.
is it bad?
It's
Yeah,
banned.
pretty
It's
bad.
banned every game.
Oh, it's banned. Yeah.
I think Fiora in competitive, it's a champ where a lot of champs in top lane right now and jungle evolves around being able to like dive, and you can kind of pressure and push the wave and then dive her. And I really don't know how good the champ is. I think it has, like, of course it's being played like sometimes, occasionally, like maybe in Korea or something, maybe like a Smip
NA.
would pull it out against the tank or in NA or something. But
You can see the poker face. It's like, yeah, if you're
Yeah,
terrible, disgustingly bad, I'm totally not going to
We
play
did
it
hear
next week.
Trashy say in that interview that, you know, when you want to play something, you guys just put your heads together and find out how he can help you and how you can play it. So,
I mean, that's basically just me saying I want to play this. And
yeah,
then,
that's what it looks like.
Yeah, then it probably doesn't matter what he thinks really. But yeah.
Well, to that, Satindari wants to know, who is your favorite champion to play in solo queue that is out of meta? Foxy, you mentioned the Echo. Is there any other thing that you really, really love playing?
Right now, I'd actually say Fiora is kind of out of meta, so I like to play Fiora a lot and Jace a lot. Just these carry champions, kind of.
Yeah.
I would say Akali or LeBlanc top maybe. I played a lot of LeBlanc top with Trinity
Dirty
Falls,
cheese,
and
eh?
I really want that to come back. That was
Oh
the
my
funniest experience.
Did I have like a distant memory of an official game where Soaz played LeBlanc top, or am I?
He played Ziggs top, and you played Talia top.
Yeah, they played in LMS I think a lot, or in China. I think they played a lot of LeBlanc top actually, at more
Did
than 10
Soaz play
games.
it? Maybe so.
I have a memory of that, but
I want to know.
At that
Yeah.
point, I was playing solo queue and like some challenger games, national games as well, and I played it a bit. But I think that was a really fun champ to play, and Akali as well, or something like that.
I want to ask you, Foxy, because all these top lanes always talking about, you know, playing carries, split pushers, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yorick. After the rework.
No.
Okay, so what is wrong
No.
with Yorick? What does he need?
What does he need?
Because he's a pure split
No,
pusher.
no.
It's fun spells, maybe.
Okay. Fun
Maybe some
skills.
mobility.
Fair, he's
some
pretty
jumps,
slow,
like-
yeah.
Actually, I could compare Yorick a bit to Trundle, I guess, in a way. It's. I mean, do you really need to play this champ, man? Can it just get nerfed and maybe
It's just to spend so much time reworking him, and then no one
Yorick
wants to
support,
use him.
Trundle support? That's fun.
I just want to see someone use his ulti in competitive. The problem is he's just like,
yeah.
everything else is just pretty useless.
No, but his ult was more fun.
Yeah, that
to
was
watch
better,
now.
obviously,
That was funnier to watch, I think.
So no one plays Origen high use solo queue.
No.
I don't think
I think he's
I
lit-
saw they played in NA a bit, in NA challenge, like the challenge solo queue, but I looked at it and I was like, nah, these guys
no.
are just bad.
Like the laning is worse than before, so you're not even that lane abuser that always was, you know, like abusing lane really hard. Now you even lose lane, like it's just
I
even worse.
can't lie, I've played Yorick a bit, okay?
See, I knew it.
So I know that the reworked one is better against melee matchups. So like, but the older one was better against like range matchups because he had this goals you could just like he would get live and slow them and stuff like that. But you can't really do that anymore. So
if you are that Yorick one-trick amazing player, you can tweet at LL Esports, #Ask a Top Laner, and tell us what these guys have to do to make it work, because we'd love to know. And maybe one more tweet. Dero wants to know, as a top laner, what do you want the most from your jungler? Good one, maybe. Foxy. Ganks?
Attention.
I don't get much help from my jungler, but all I want is kind of just some cover. Sometimes when I'm about to get dived or something in bad matchups, that's all I want
Some
from my
love.
jungler. Don't really want him to camp my lane because I know he doesn't like that. So
Yeah.
just some cover sometimes.
Oh, Wonder, you mentioned like adaptability, that you get the freedom to play what you want to play.
yeah, I think for my jungler, like it depends on the matchups to play. Honestly, sometimes you just need cover. Sometimes you don't even need to play around your lane because maybe it's like tank versus tank or something that doesn't really snowball as much as maybe other lanes. So I think some wards or something. If you have pressure, I would like my jungler to go up and ward maybe deep in the jungle or something, or maybe dive him if that's a possibility. And if it's not, then that's basically all I need. And I feel like I would be able to play the lane on my own.
They're being so nice. They're sitting and whining and calling for the jungler every
actually
minute
true.
in game. They're like, Maxlaw trashy, top lane, where are you?
Maxlaw has a fun playstyle right now where he likes to farm the jungle. So I enjoy to play against Maxlaw at the moment.
Trashy's not allowed to. He has to go camp the
He has
lane.
to go. That's farming as well. Well, as long as we're on the topic of social media, Foxy, you were mentioning before that you were kind of, touched by the bad Reddit comments or the community comments. So I looked up some good ones for you from today.
There are a lot of them today.
Yeah, Foxy is a beast on Gnar. I see here Foxy's Gnar was a joy to watch, seeing him going ham, carrying by himself. Insane play by Foxy. So how important is that to you too? Because you obviously mentioned the bad ones, so this must
I don't
be a
really
boost.
watch Reddit that much, but other people tell me what other people, Redditors, write about me. Like in the Origen game when I played Gnar, there was a lot of hate, some funny jokes about my Gnar, so I guess it makes me a bit happy that they like me now. They like my Gnar.
Wonder, do you read do you care a lot about the online comments?
No, I honestly don't care about it, but I like to read it just for my own entertainment because it's always fun to read what other people, like, they always know the answer, like, quote-unquote. So,
of course, they're challenger.
Yeah, they're all challenger in there, and they like to know what I do wrong, and especially in Spring Split, my first split here, I was getting flamed a lot, right? But I knew what I did wrong myself, and I don't think I needed any Redditor to tell me that, and learn from or something. So I just read it to get a good laugh, and then I just moved on and played my game.
It's about finding a healthy balance. What about you? I have a comment here, actually. I didn't like the Fisho at first. It sounded like he was chewing a brick, but I'm really warming up to him.
Great. Thanks. I've heard that one quite a few times, how people used to hate me and now they really like me. So I like Reddit right now because there's a lot of good comments in there. Keep it going, guys. Don't stop.
Same good.
Yeah, it was actually Shocks 29.
Yeah.
All right, in any case, as the Spring Split playoffs draw closer, it's a very important time for us to turn our attention to the Challenger Series because the teams that will be fighting to take the place of the most underperforming teams in the EU LCS. And for more, here is Medic.
Thank you, Shocks. I'm Aaron Medic Chamberlain, and I'm here to break down what's coming up in the European Challenger Series. 2 weeks ago, we saw the Spring Split come to a close, with Schalke 04 sitting pretty at the top of the standings, undefeated across the entire split. With 5 teams battling it out for the last 3 playoff spots in the final week, it was Paris Saint-Germain, Fnatic Academy, and Misfits Academy that managed to lock in their spots for the playoffs. Tomorrow, we see Schalke 04 face off against Misfits Academy in a battle for the first promotion spot. Let's start off this breakdown with a look at Schalke. They've arguably been the best team ever seen in the Challenger Series. Without losing a single game, they bulldozed through their opposition and now stand on the cusp of getting back into the LCS. Schalke's season has been defined by their impeccable macro play. They ended the regular split after taking 92 towers and only losing 19. In other words, for every 1 tower they lost, they managed to take 5. Now, Selfie is a player that has always been striving to reach the highest tier of League of Legends play. It's been a difficult road for him, but he has shown signs of brilliance across the splits, picking up double kills early on in a lot of his games. Among the moments of genius, however, we have seen signs of overconfidence. Millennium are the only team that seem to have stretched Schalke, and they did so by camping Selfie in that middle lane. There are cracks in the armor of Schalke 04, no matter how impenetrable they may seem. Compared to Schalke, however, Misfits Academy's road to the playoffs has been full of potholes. Losing their starting jungler Kadir, they had to bring in Pridestalker to fill his role in Week 2. After a few turbulent games, Pridestalker and the Misfits began to find their stride. It's never an easy feat to join a team midway through a season, especially when your predecessor has performed so exceptionally well. Pridestalker took up the mantle as Misfits jungler after Kadir had to bow out. Known as the solo queue terror, he struggled to convert his solo queue fame into on-stage form. When the 2 teams last met, Pridestalker found himself ever stalked by the presence of Lulex. If he manages to shake this deadly shadow, Misfits Academy definitely have a shot of taking down Schalke. After Schalke and Misfits square off tomorrow, we'll have to wait an entire week before we find out who will be joining the winners in the promotion tournament. Fnatic Academy, with a revitalized roster, line up against Paris Saint-Germain, the pre-season favorites. Our victors will head into the promotion tournament against the 2 fifth-place teams from the LCS groups, starting on the 6th of April. But the next step on the road to the big league starts tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central European time. Back to you guys on the desk.
Thank you so much, Medic. Super interesting there. The best challenger team there ever was. Does Wonder have anything to say about that?
I mean, I played Challenger Series when Origen was there, and
right.
I feel like that they might be competing for that spot. I think that at that time Origen was, even though they went 9-1, they lost the game. I think they were like maybe 3 levels above everyone else. I think maybe individually someone could, because we were all solo queue players and we were individually we were fine, right? So we could probably match them a bit, but then mid game came, and or even just the rotations, early game, how they played the map, and then kind of just crumbled. So
Origen definitely has had back then more potential than the current Schalke one. I feel like Origen's ceiling was much higher. That's why also they went all the way to top 4 when it came to Worlds, because they had like Mythy, Pick, Sven, all these guys. Funny enough, though, I remember when Splyce was a challenger team and they played the Challenger final. Do you remember that here in the studio?
It was a 5 games?
It was 5 games, and
it
was back with the 5 dragons, and we had like, was it, I don't know.
4 out of 5 games.
4 out of 5 games,
were 5 dragons.
Nothing happened
Best
for like
control
50
ever.
minutes, and there was just dragons. We were like, oh great, Splyce is in the LCS now. Like, they do nothing.
We started playing at like 6, and then at 11 or something we were finished, and I was like,
oh, it took forever, man.
I mean, but that's the nature of those games, right? It's so important.
It was the biggest headache after the games. I just felt like going home and taking a nap real quick. So.
But you made it in.
A nap at 11 p.m. You could just go to bed, you know?
Technically, yeah.
I mean,
it's a pro gamer though, so.
Yeah. I mean, our adrenaline was kind of pumping a bit after that, so maybe sleeping right after is kind of hard, but yeah.
Is nerves a big problem for you still, Foxy?
No, I don't think nerves were really a problem this split. I just found myself really confident in my skill.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think Schalke will make it into the LCS without any problems, or can you see them maybe struggle in a promotion tournament game?
I'm not sure. If they're against Origen, they probably won't struggle a lot to get into the LCS.
What about Giants?
I also think they're better than Giants, yeah.
What about Rocket?
No.
They're not going to play Rocket.
We're not going to play them.
We're running through the scenarios,
yeah,
right?
I mean, obviously, it's double elimination. So let's say Schalke makes it all the way through. Then the 2 LCS teams can still either face each other or they face like whichever other challenger team makes it in. Like, technically, Schalke also has to beat Misfits Academy before they're actually in the promotion tournament.
Definitely.
So we want to see in the BO5s if they can still, continue to steamroll.
The Fnatic Academy up versus PSG. And also, very interestingly, that promotion tournament, it's different from previous years. It starts before our playoffs, so that is 3 weeks now. So also for a team like Origen, you had a tweet there from Tabs before that said already mentally like starting to prepare for that promotion tournament because it's only 3 weeks away. Will that make a big difference?
I mean, I don't know. It kind of feels like maybe it's a bit easy to just focus on the promotion tournament now, since like they can't change anything in the standings right now. So it depends on what team you are and what like kind of mentality you have, because either it could be like it could go really hard down from here because they feel like they're not playing for a reason or stuff like that, or they could take this as new motivation that they don't really have to care that much about how it goes in LCS and just focus on like ironing out the problems they have. But if like my opinion about the promotion tournament is kind of that Schalke is probably better than the bottom 5 teams in LCS right now. So that's like Fnatic, Rocket, Giants, Vitality, and Origen. So.
But we also said that last year, or last split, I remember, with Misfits, when they were playing. And it was like, yeah, these guys are just going to steamroll everything. Not as good, obviously, as Schalke. I'm not saying they were as good.
I mean, I didn't agree on that either.
That's fair. It's just like a lot of people like getting on 3-0 everything. I remember there were some predictions like maybe it's not going to be so easy. They lost to Origen and had to then beat Schalke, obviously, to make it in the last one and knock Schalke out. So it's always tricky when you're on stage. But actually, there's super quick question for both of you guys.
No, you got time.
Oh, we got time? Oh, great.
Yeah.
Long question then. You guys were 0-7, and then you guys last year in spring obviously also had your like losing streaks, and you're down in the bottom of the standings. You mentioned like with your Origen, you just gotta iron out your problems. You don't really think too much about the standings, but like when you're on losing streaks, like how's the atmosphere like on the team? I assume it's like after every time you lose on stage, don't you just kind of get a little bit more sad and demotivated to kind of work on your problems? Or is it just easy enough to say we just need to fix this and then it's good?
For us, I don't think morale was a problem. Like we always had high morale in our team. Like even losing scrims, like losing LCS, I think it didn't affect us that much. Like because everyone on the team is like really funny, like the jokes all the time. Like we have a Korean that's joking all the time.
Yeah,
so.
tell us about Wadid, because he looks like
He's a really
having
funny
a lot
guy,
of fun.
a really positive guy. Like, he's the type of guy that would, in a game, let's say, a Baron is stolen or something, Maxer doesn't smite it, and Wadid is like, it's fine, Maxer, don't worry. It's fine, next Baron will get it. He's that type of guy in the team.
Who's that type of guy in Splyce?
Oh, I don't know. Honestly, right now, we are kind of lacking a lot of... Our team morale is not as high as it used to be, so even though like in these games, because we played Origen and it was kind of... We could mess around a bit without losing the game, so in these games we were a bit loose and we said it's fine, even though they stole Nash, like, we will win the game anyway, so it's okay. But I would say we all have like a role like that. I think it just depends on the day, and like if someone is probably like feeling a bit better in the game or something, he will be the guy who cheers people up as well.
Yeah. You mentioned morale, and Trashy also hinted at it. Is that like the main thing? If you had to say, you know, this is the main difference from last year, because we also had the big storyline, you know, all the Danes together then, and the friendship prevails and all that, and it's kind of your first year, so you're allowed a bit more mistakes, but now the pressure is really on.
I think the main issue right now is that we just struggle really hard to improve. Even though we are winning games in LCS and we are doing fine, I think we just met like a wall, and we are trying to improve further and expand on like on our playbook and stuff like that, and it just doesn't seem to work out, or we don't seem to improve at as a fast pace as other teams. So it kind of you don't even have to be the losing team to have a bad morale, or you can also be the team that. Sure, you can win against bottom tier teams, but you're not improving as fast, and that can make you feel really bad as well about playing and really make you demotivated. So
same thing that G2 says, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, you know, if you play scrappy games and everyone is expecting you to win. Like coming into this, most people thought Splyce would be the G2 of, you know, Group A or Group B, where it's like it would be Splyce #1 and then it would be G2 #1, because you guys had that really good summer split and the same players, everything was the same. And then obviously it went pretty downhill, and now you guys, I think you're climbing your way back up. Like even if you're saying you guys don't improve as fast as possible, I don't see that huge of a difference between you and, let's say, a Misfits, a Unicorns, and an H2K right now. Maybe you feel the difference in scrims, but I don't see it when you guys are playing, at least.
No, I definitely think that there's not like the widest gap between us and the other teams. I just think that personally we would want to be the best possible team, right? We don't want to look really at other teams and how they do things, because of course every team has issues, right? So not every team is going to have a perfect year or perfect split. So we're just looking at ourselves and we feel like we could do better, and it's kind of not working out as we would like it to, at least. So.
But it's looking upwards now, another victory on the book. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see you guys all next week as week 9 of the regular split gets underway. We're going to take a look at the matches again. As said, Splyce versus Vitality, a lot of very clear-cut ones. You know, Excite, maybe the Fnatic versus Giants one that could be an important one, and Roccat versus Misfits, which would be a monumental win for Roccat in the standings. For us, though, it is time for us to log off as Top Lane Week comes to an end. Thank you guys very much for joining us here on for Top Lane Week and PGL.
Thank you.
Thanks.
No problemo. Well, we'll see, and you too. We'll see you at 5 p.m. on Thursday, Central European Time, as the EULCS 2017 Spring Split continues. Have a great